All right, Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to try to go through Isaiah, the 13th chapter, and flow through the Spirit. Okay, as we titled it, the final chapter, which not saying Isaiah 13 is the final chapter, but it does go into a lot of prophetic things, okay, pertaining to the end time, which we're in right now. So we're going to try to go through that chapter, and any precepts that come out along the way, we'll go through the Spirit. So whoever got it can bring it out. Isaiah 13, the one.
Isaiah chapter 13, verse 1. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah, the son of Amoz, did see.
Now that Babylon is not referring on to ancient Babylon. That's something that a lot of these quote unquote scholars and historians, these so-called Christian historians get wrong. Some of them get it right, but most of them get it wrong, because when they see Babylon, they think, well, they go back and they say, okay, well, during the time of Isaiah, there was a Babylon was in existence at that time. Right? I believe there's an account of it. You can find it, me brother, where the Babylonians came to visit Hezekiah, and then he showed them all the things that he had. And then after they left, Isaiah came over and basically asked them, what happened? He gave him the rundown. Let's go in there real quick. We're gonna try to flesh out this breakdown. So, but in any case, that's what these historians will try to do. So they'll say that, oh well, the Babylon that existed at the time, right, as it says, Isaiah, the son of Amos, did see, has to be talking about ancient Babylon. But that's not the case, because as we keep on reading down, the judgments that are going to follow suit to this Babylon did not happen to ancient Babylon. Okay, ancient Babylon still exists today. That land is still there today. People still live in that land today. But as we read further down in Isaiah 13, it tells you that it's going to be completely wasted. Oh, you bring it up.
This is Isaiah chapter 39 and 1. At that time, Merodach Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he had heard that he had been sick and was recovered. And Hezekiah was glad of them and showed them the house of his precious things.
Now, at this time, I believe, you had the Assyrians. The Assyrians were in power.
Oh, my fault, bro.
I don't want you to find your phone.
Yeah, I didn't see it. My fault, bro. So like it.
You had the Assyrians that were in power. Now, when you go back even further to the time, I believe, of the Akkadians, they're the ones who, you had the Sumerians and the Akkadians. They were going back and forth, but they managed, I think it was under Sargon I, to establish this one unified empire or rulership that was that had control over both the northern region of Mesopotamia and the southern region. Okay, and then as it kept going back and forth, you ended up with the Assyrians and the Babylonians, and the Assyrians ended up taking over Babylon, and they would sort of rule, over Babylon and Assyria. They would have like a king of Assyria. If you read some of the inscriptions, they'll call him king of Assyria, also king of Babylon, so on and so forth. Now, in the ancient world, Babylon was likened onto like a holy city kind of area, that where they had a lot of their deities and so on and so forth. So when you read further on down, there was a time when this guy Sennacherib, I believe he ended up destroying one of the cities over there in Babylon, and a lot of people basically came against him for that, and he ended up getting killed by his own sons. Okay, but the point is, at this time, you had the Assyrians that were in rulership, because I believe this was somewhere around 720s or so. The Assyrians were in rulership, and Babylon was sort of a little bit under them. Okay, so they sent letters to Hezekiah after he got sick, which the Lord had mercy on him, because he humbled himself, and the Lord had mercy on him. Go on.
Verse 2, Isaiah chapter 39, verse 2. And Hezekiah was glad of them and showed them the house of his precious things, the silver and the gold and the spices and the precious ointment, and all that the house of his armor, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah showed them not. Verse 3, then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and said unto him, what said these men? And from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, they are come from a far country unto me, even from Babylon.
Yep. So in this time, now that was dealing with the ancient Babylon. Okay, but Isaiah is going to go on to tell Hezekiah, basically prophesy to him, which did come to pass. All right, so let's keep going.
Verse 4, then he said, what have they seen in thine house? And Hezekiah answered, all that is in mine house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that they have not that I have not showed them. Then said Isaiah to Hezekiah, hear the word of the Lord of hosts. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house, and all that which thy fathers have laid up in store unto this day. Get out of here, bro. And all that which thy fathers have laid up in store until this day shall be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith the Lord.
And that happened, right? That was a prophecy which ended up being fulfilled hundreds of years later when Nebuchadnezzar II came up into power. And he besieged Jerusalem, and they ended up destroying the walls, burning the temple, taking out all the gold, all the silver, all those precious vessels, and so on and so forth amongst Israelites. And they only left, like the low class to tend to the field and so on and so forth. But that actually came to pass. Now that was dealing with ancient Babylon. But when you go back to Isaiah 13, that's dealing with this Babylon, modern day Babylon. Okay, there are two Babylons. You have ancient Babylon, and then you have modern day Babylon, or the daughter of Babylon, or Babylon the Great, which is America.
Point as well. I think it's not Revelation 18, it's Revelation 17. It talks about mystery Babylon.
Yep.
Now, if Babylon's a mystery, how could Babylon be a mystery if it's over there, which, if I'm not mistaken, is called modern day Iraq?
Yep.
That's not a mystery. So obviously, this is place talking about, like it even says in Revelation 11, talks about that place that is spiritually called Sodom and spiritually called Egypt. That's talking about here, because what? I don't have to explain why this place is called Sodom. They have a whole month for it. Like, come on now. But why? Because in Egypt, is because what? We came here in bondage. Going it back into Deuteronomy 28 and 60. Thou shalt see it no more again, thy homeland. I forgot how the scripture goes. It's been a while. But basically talking about how we should come here as bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall save us. Talking about here, we were going to come here and serve out our captivity. So that's why this place is likened unto Egypt. It's not the landmass itself, but what it's spiritually, or like if you read in a different translation, it'll say it's figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, meaning that what? It has the same spirit as those ancient places or those ancient landmasses.
Right. That's right. Go on.
Yeah, before I finish off, this book is only meant to be deciphered by the elect. Like, we're the only ones who really know the hidden breakdowns of why he said the mystery. A lot of these scriptures speak of things that is not yet to be obtained by the rest of the world, but we come out in a week out to break things down. And Mystery Babylon is one of the things that we break down right now. This is verse 2 of Isaiah 13. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice onto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the noble.
Now, the high mountain represents America. There's a precept. You already know it. You just read my mind, brother. Beautiful. And that represents America. So it says, lift ye up a banner, which the banner is the scriptures. A banner is like if you had a nation going to war, you have banner. You got that on? That's it. But they will walk around with kind of like a pole with a flag that shows the symbol of whoever it is, whatever party they're on. And you actually have people that would walk around with that. Okay.
I believe the same word for banner goes into a standard, right? A standard,
yep.
Just like how we're lifting up the standard, is basically lifting up the banner. All right, so that's pretty much the same thing.
Done.
This is Psalm chapter 60, verse 4. Thou hast given a banner to them that fear thee, that it may be displayed because of the truth. Selah.
That's it. that it may be displayed because of the truth. So what are we doing? We're metaphorically or figuratively raising up this banner, right? That's what we're doing. We're raising up this banner, and we're proclaiming the words of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, speaking against this place. Real quick, can we get Jeremiah 28 and 8? Because that's what we're doing. We're coming in the stead, as the scriptures say, the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets. So we're coming in the stead of the prophets to do the job. And a big portion, and really wherever the prophets were, we would have to prophesy. And in most cases, it would be against that place, even if it was Israel. There were a lot of prophets in Israel prophesying against Israel, and in the different captivities that we were in. Yeah.
Jeremiah 28 and 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence.
There you go. And that's what we're doing today. Is America not considered a great country? And we're prophesying against America and against different parts of the world of war. We're saying that there's a third world war brewing up, right? Of evil, of the famines, the pestilence, the chaos, the martial law. All of these things we're prophesying, saying that, hey, this is going to come to this place. So we are prophesying against this place, letting it know that, hey, this is what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is getting ready to do to this place, right? And that's the same thing the prophets of old did. So if you're looking for the prophets, they're here today. But if you want to compare them, if you're looking for something to compare to find out who's a real prophet or not, look at what the old prophets did.
To give an example real quick, right? Anytime a kingdom, if you check out history, anytime a kingdom gets established, what happens before that kingdom gets established? War. Like we were just going into the Assyrian Babylonian captivity. Now, before the Babylonians came into power, what happened? You had basically Nebuchadnezzar came up into power, and then they took down Nineveh, if I'm not mistaken, in 612 BC, right? Then the same thing with the Babylonians. I think it was a little bit different with the Babylonians when they went down to the Medes and the Persians, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Medes kind of like sneak attacked them, if I'm not mistaken.
The Persians under the orders, it was the orders of Cyrus, and then yeah, they took over.
So anytime a kingdom gets established, right, a new kingdom gets set up, what happens? War. The same thing with Alexander before he came into power. What happened? Like the same thing like the brother actually has precept. Jeremiah 28 and 8 prophesied many wars and great kingdoms going down. What was the prophecy that Daniel got that Alexander was going to come into power? Daniel the 8th chapter, talking about, if I'm not saying, the he-goat, and then it rose up against the ram with 2 horns, and it smote him. So anytime before war happens, or before a new kingdom gets set up, there's a prophecy about it. So giving the example of Daniel the 8th chapter. So if who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, he's going to bring his kingdom. That would mean what? That war has to come before his kingdom gets established. It's been the same thing going on all the time in the history, and you see it with the scriptures. So before a new kingdom gets established, war has to come happen. It's not just you're just not gonna easily go into the kingdom. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, because the nations around, I got you, bro. The nations around, they sense, if you have one nation, national or world superpower, once it starts to wane, and then the nations see that it's starting to get weak, then they come up in there and they say, all right, let me take it over. And then that's when you have the opportunity, because all these nations know that whoever wins that war is going to be the next ruler for however long. So they all get up in there. That's why you had, when the Assyrians were falling down, you had this guy, Pharaoh Necho, trying to run up in there, trying to go and help out in there. You know, maybe if he could help, he could come in there, he could put up the Egyptians as the next superpower. Got it, bro?
Mountain, elites, they know that America is the high mountain because they have G20 summits. And what is a summit? When you're speaking about the top, the peak of the tip of the mountain. And they know that they're the highest mountain because when they say a G20 summit or whatever they term for having a global meeting about their agenda, it's America sitting at the head when they sitting at that round table. And it usually takes place with the elites of the government. So the high mountain is pretty much speaking about the word for the high mountain is called the summit.
You got that precept?
Oh, yeah.
No, you can bring it up.
Isaiah 46:9. Remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is none else. I am God and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
So ultimately, everything that happens, guess what? This is all set up by Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai from the foundation of the world. The Lord is not pulling, plan A and plan B. Everything is plan A. Okay, everything goes according to the plan of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right.
This is Jeremiah chapter 51. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 25. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord.
Now, Jeremiah 51, can we actually jump to the top and see what the first verse says?
Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind.
So now we got the context. This is talking about Babylon. Once again, not ancient Babylon, but modern day Babylon, America. So when we jump down to the what verse is that? The 25th verse, let's read that.
Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 25. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain.
Which is who? America. Go ahead.
Saith the Lord, which destroys all the earth.
And that's what America is doing, right? And they're led by Esau, Edom, which the scriptures call them. The scriptures say that what? Would not the Lord destroy them that destroy the earth? How he that turned the earth into a wilderness? So they're the ones going about through America as their face or the whore, and they're destroying everything.
And I will stretch out my hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks. I will make thee a burnt mountain.
There you go. So ultimately, what's going to happen to this place? It's actually literally going to be burnt. Let's go back to Isaiah 13.
Verse 3, Isaiah 13, verse 3. I have commanded my sanctified one. I have also called my mighty one for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my hiding.
Which the mighty ones are the angels, and we are the sanctified ones. Okay? We are the truth. And so what are we doing? We're out here, we've been called, and we're out here prophesying against this place. Go on.
Verse 4, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The
And where
Lord
is
of,
that going to be? That's going to be in the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, which means the Lord's judgment. Go on.
the Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle.
That's why he's called the Lord of hosts. So he's the one who's going to orchestrate all of this. Go on. That's it.
Verse 5, they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord and the weapons of his indignation.
So real quick, let's get what the weapons of his indignation are. Isaiah 56 and that's it.
I got
Let's
it.
get that real quick. All right.
I have that right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it open actually. That's the spirit. All right, it's the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, and verse 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. Oh, you want me to? Okay, yeah, so that's going into the Lord's instrument, the Lord's craft. Okay, what exactly is the Lord going to use, all right, to basically destroy this whole land? Back in the first world, he used water, okay, by using what? The elements. He has control over those elements. Modern day today, it wouldn't make sense for the Lord to use water, all right, because Esau got technology that could combat that. All right, so the Lord is using a form of technology by the hands of Esau to bring about the destruction. This time it's something that he can't stop, all right, which is what? The thermonuclear fire. Okay, so the Lord is the one who's putting it in the minds of these so-called nuclear physicists, those so-called nuclear scientists, and so on and so forth, all right, to come up with this idea of a nuclear bomb, a nuclear device. All right, they have something known as the MAD theory, okay, mutual assured destruction. Okay, who's the one who puts it in the minds of people to actually think like that? You know, I mean, why would anyone think of creating a weapon that can destroy themselves too. All right, it has to be something that's out of your power, out of your control, for you to actually end up doing that. It's almost like you're in a trance. Okay, it's a spiritual trance that the Lord has put on these people to end up, all right, creating the weapons that the Lord is going to take credit for when He uses to destroy this place, man. All right, but you got it.
God, yeah, and like it says, the Lord has created the. Actually, can we read that again? Isaiah 56 and 60. You got it too? Yeah. All right, we bring it up.
Isaiah 54 and 16.
Mhm.
Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy.
Right. So the smith, which is the one who actually does the work, like if you have different kinds of smiths, right? Blacksmith, swordsmith, so on and so forth, and they make these things. They make armor, weapons, steel, all of these things, and their job requires them to deal with that fire, right? They blow the coals in the fire. If you think about it on the literal sense, you actually, in the ancient world, you would have the coals that would keep the fire burning. And when you blow on it, it helps the fire continue to go because they need that fire as they're hammering out or creating whatever it is. So the modern day version of these smiths are these scientists, okay? That, as it says, read that again, they blow the coals in the fire.
And that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
They bring forth an instrument. So just like a swordsmith will make a sword for a warrior, the Lord created these scientists and put it into their minds to be able to manipulate these elements, okay, and splitting of some and joining some together to make a destructive force, and then put it together in the form of a nuclear missile, a hypersonic missile, a nuclear warhead, whatever, an atomic bomb. So the Lord put that technology into their mind to bring forth an instrument for His work. Ultimately, who's going to be doing this work? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, right? There's a bit more on that.
Hey, real quick, it kind of reminds me of when you watch the movie Titanic. Remember the beginning stages where the shipmen, when they were underneath the ship, they were heaping coals into the thing for the fire to keep on going, the engines. So it's pretty much the same thing. They're putting the coals in there, and it's the Lord that the putting of the coals is the nuclear experiments that they do. Every now and again you hear, oh, this country just tested a nuclear missile. These tests is part of the Lord putting that spirit on them. Why is it happening all these times in this time now? How come it didn't happen 20 years ago or 30 years ago? Because they had all this technology back then. But how come is being put out now? Okay, you have something known as the Cold War. Okay, the Cold War was really pretty much about what country is going to have the highest form of technology and ultimately use it to destroy their enemy. Okay, between the Soviet Union and the US. All right, but now the Lord has said, okay, hold on. Now we're going to redo this all over again. That's why you have what's going on now. So these tests that they do is the fulfillment of this prophecy right here. All right. So when you hear a country's testing nuclear missiles, it's not something you should take lightly because that's the Lord showing you His power. Okay. And ultimately, that power is going to be felt here in America, Babylon the Great, and a lot of people don't even know about it. But you got it.
Yeah, that's it. You going?
It says, and I have created the waster to destroy.
So what's the waster? The missiles. And how did the Lord create the waster? By creating a smith who's then going to create the waster. Okay? And the waster's job is to destroy. So that's why, see, the only job of these missiles are to destroy. That's all they're going to do. They're not going to heal. They're going to destroy. Okay? You got something like fire that gives you light, it gives you heat, and then you can cook with it and so on and so forth, but it can also destroy things. These missiles, their sole purpose is destruction. Okay? So that shows you that the work of the Lord, the weapons of His indignation, are these missiles which are going to be used to destroy.
Okay, see, quote from one of the Smiths, which is Oppenheimer. He quoted and said, "Now I've become death, the destroyer of worlds." So those key words he used was to mention to relate back to the scriptures when the Lord was creating these weapons of His indignation to destroy worlds, which is ultimately the ICBMs. First it was the atomic bomb, the A bomb, which He created, but now it evolved to the thermonuclear destruction, which is also another way of destroying a whole entire planet.
Yeah, which ultimately they're not going to be able to destroy the planet, but they're going to destroy certain parts of it.
And destroy pretty much a large mass weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
WMD.
All right, let's keep going in Isaiah 13. So, this is a prophecy that Isaiah saw that hasn't come to pass yet. All right, it's still yet to be fulfilled. Go on.
Hey, real quick.
Yep. One second.
Yeah, they even got something known as the Moab, which is the so-called mother of all bombs. Right. So who came up with that concept? Right? Who came up with all these things? These are things that people don't. The regular person does not even care about these things, man. You know, but we care about it because the Lord has given us the spirit to understand these things, and that's part of the end time prophecies. When you start seeing these countries coming together and start talking nuclear, you know we're at the end, because that's how this place gets taken out. All right, but you got it.
God, you got it, bro.
All right. Verse 6, Isaiah 13, verse 6. How ye...
Actually, let's read verse 5 again.
Okay, yeah. Verse 5. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
So now let's think about it, right? The whole land, that's talking about Babylon. But it says these weapons come from a far country. So now if you think about it, what weapon can travel across continents to destroy a whole land? Intercontinental, right? Now in ancient, like the brother went into, in the ancient world, ancient Babylon was not completely destroyed at all. But we know that according to prophecies, other books even tell you that Revelation 18, 17, and various other scriptures, that this place is going to be completely, utterly destroyed, which is America. And those weapons that are going to be able to do that are those nuclear missiles, those ICBMs, which is an acronym for Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, because they are actually able to leave one continent or one part of the earth, like one end of heaven, and reach another part. Okay, and they're designed, some of these missiles are super long, but really the damage is in the head, the first part. And the second part are just there to propel it. You may have, when a missile gets launched, you have the bottom half that propels it a certain while, and then that part falls off, and then you have another part that propels it even further. And some of these missiles actually leave the atmosphere for a bit, change trajectory, and then come back down. And that's why some of these prophets, like the Apostle John, said that he likened it onto a fig tree that is shaken by the wind. Okay, so imagine a tree that has figs on it, and the wind pushes it one way, and then suddenly it just unleashes it, and then you have this tree that comes this way, and all you see is these figs just dropping down. Okay, like how these missiles are gonna rain down. Go on. And now China has that hypersonic missile, which is extremely fast. This is why, because see, America is a very big land. North America is very huge. So imagine for it to take only 1 hour for this place to be completely destroyed, burnt up, that's a lot of fire. That's why these missiles have to move fast. See, so when they launch the missiles, it can't take them an hour to get here. They're going to have to move very quickly. 13 minutes. Some might be even faster. And
Right.
they're not going to come from just Russia.
Right, that's why it's called hypersonic. All right,
Right.
hyper meaning a little bit more power than the regular, and then sonic goes into sound. So this thing is faster than the speed of sound. You know, when you see a lightning, all right, and you hear the thunder after it, it's that lightning that you see, the thunder after it is actually what you saw. You know, the clash of those lights, electricity in the heavens, that's what causes the thunder and the lightning. So when you see the lightning, and then later on you hear the sound, that's that impact, but you just heard it later on. So that's how light travels faster than sound. But this missile travels faster than sound. All right, so by the time you hear the missile shoot off, it's already gone. You see, by the time you hear it explode, the explosion has already happened. You see, so that's the technology that the Lord is using, and that's why this place is going to be destroyed within 1 hour. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
Yeah. And the defense system that this place has is not capable. Okay, they've been, I forgot what group it was, American, I forgot what they were, but they basically came out and said America's missiles can't even defend against America's missile defense system is not adequate to defend even against an actual intercontinental ballistic missile, let alone a hypersonic missile that is moving so fast that you can't even track it. Before you can even realize it's in your atmosphere, it's already hitting different parts because that's how fast it moves. It's kind of like not knowing what hit you.
Well, look at the chariots. The chariots is always popping up, and why ain't your radars alerting at that point? Your system is slow, baby. Come on.
That's it. That's it. Hey, Isaiah 47, you get that real quick. Getting to the end, the Lord says he's going to raise up evil against Babylon, which thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. 47, yeah. Isaiah 47. So the Lord is bringing that destruction, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. I mean, hey, chances are there's going to be a very big crash coming this year, sometime this year. Q2, Q3, Q4, there might be a very big crash, okay? Because they're trying to move this thing quick. They're trying to push those CBDCs out there, and they need to crash this current system. This economy needs to go down. It's on its last legs. They're gonna crash this thing, man. I was having a conversation with somebody, and they mentioned damn, what was the name of it? Retail crash, but like dealing with buildings, because especially now after the C, you know, the big C, after that, a lot of people are now going remote. And so a lot of these buildings, like when you look at downtown, these office buildings and so on and so forth, they become vacant. You know, and people don't, the value of them is going down because now you got jobs that are trying to get people to come back in, but it's not really working. So what do you got? People leaving saying, I'll just go somewhere else that allow me to work remote. And other companies are saying, oh, well, shit, I mean, why should I lose people? If more people are coming on the market, come this way. We'll let you work remote. So there's some major crash that's coming very soon.
Look through a testimony. My pop's in the hospital right now, and something I was hearing amongst the nurses is that there's not a lot of nurses in them nursing homes. Because anytime my father got called like the nurses, it's like there's nobody there. And when I went to visit him, it's like a ghost town almost. Like barely nobody's there. And my sister, who works in like Kings County, she says she don't even really want to work there because like barely anybody there, and barely none of the nurses even want to work. So you like, to add to your point, even more people is leaving. So now who's going to take care of those people who's in the hospital? If you barely have enough people there already, and more people want to leave.
That's it.
Yeah, I was going to say too, because this whole, and that's not just retail, it's pretty much everywhere, because they're doing this transition into this AI shit. They're trying to incorporate the AI into the everyday people's lives. Now it's interesting because I think it was this morning, I saw a video of somebody was asking Alexa, you know, the Amazon Amazon little device thing, and they asked them, hey, when will World War III commence? And the machine said November 23rd, 2023, Russia will shoot missiles. It didn't say exactly where, but it says that November 23rd, 2023. Now it makes sense because now we're not gonna go into it and say, okay, well, on this day, that's what exact. Now we don't know, right? But all we know is destruction is coming. Now, Slovakia. Slovakia. Now, these devices, these gadgets are programmed with the AI, because remember, AI, they use the AI to do these war simulations and so on and so forth. So they have the simulation already set up, just like how they had the pandemic simulation. They have the same thing. Everything is all programmed according to Heavenly Father's will. So they might know certain things, how to provoke certain countries, and what the result will be. We might not know per se the details, but we know according to prophecy, these things will happen. All right. So when the device is going around saying, oh, November 23rd, 2023, Russia is going to start shooting missiles, that's something that most people look at and be like, oh, look at this shit. But if the fact that a machine is actually saying these things, you should pay attention and be like, wait a minute. You know, what if this actually happened this year? You know, what if the way things are moving, Russia could very well do this shit, if not sooner? You know, who knows? You know what I'm saying? These devils talking about the rolling out the CBDC, all right, in July of this year. Yo, man, all hell could break loose right as soon as they leave that shit. They let that shit rock, because that's what's going to be the catalyst to push people to go into the streets and bug out. Once the CBDC is officially put in place, that's what's going to make people bug out, because now you've hit the realization of reality. This is it. Now what are you going to do? The only thing people are going to do is bug the hell out, because you've lost everything. Your money's gone and there's no explanation for it. Your country is down the drain and there's no explanation for it. Your country's telling you that you better prepare to go to war. and there's no explanation for it. All these things all at once. You see, that's why the Lord said he's going to plague this place with innumerable plagues, just like in Egypt, you know, and he's taking away the mirth of the land. And a lot of people still don't connect the dots. You know, the CBDC being launched is going to open up the way for the MOTB to be brought out there. And that's going to just take a few weeks, a few months. And next thing you know, World War III is going to be popping off, you know, through the spirit. So we're going to see, you know, but you got it.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's it. So, because they want to make you desperate. You know, they want to make you so desperate that anything they present to you is going to sound good. Look, man, when you go on, you know, a good amount of days without eating, you know, you're not a picky eater. As long as it's food, you're going to eat. Okay? So, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But when people, yeah.
When you go to the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, real quick, and it says rich and poor, free and bond. When you go to that word poor, all right, I forget exactly the Greek word there, but when you go into it, it basically means that you've been reduced to beggary. So that's the average American person that's walking around here. The system is taking away things from you. And that's what's going to reduce you to the point of needing them to give you a solution. And that's where you're going to have to receive that thing. You know, so it's all playing out in our face, man. We're watching it, you know?
Yeah. And that's why they're trying to destroy the middle class and just have rich and poor. See, the scriptures, when it said that, the Apostle John didn't say rich and middle class, rich and better off, and then poor. No, just rich and poor. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to just have two classes. One, the rich, everybody else is poor. So you know, you don't got to read that. You have that?
Oh.
24.
Yeah, this is Isaiah chapter 24, verse 9. They shall not drink wine with they shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. No, that's not it.
Check from 7 on down. It's in the same chapter though.
Oh, it's verse 11.
Okay.
Isaiah chapter 24, verse 11. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. So I just want to bring this out just to add to the brother's point that eventually at that point, like you were saying, how, you know, when you're about to go to war and things like that, the mirth of this land is gone. There's even another thing as well I saw on, I looked up on like natural news, that chick, Rochelle Walensky. For those people who rolled up their sleeves and took that thing, she's recently came out and said that, look, you doing that, taking the double top, basically the double roll up of your sleeves, didn't mean nothing. You're still susceptible to get that thing. So now think about it. Your country's about to go to war. You have something in you that you know it didn't do anything, so you're still susceptible to getting sick, plus all the other plagues that the Lord is about to do. This like it says, I'll read it again. It says there's a crying for wine in the streets, and that wine is basically the understanding, like, why is all this happening? What's going on? What led to this? Because like the scripture said, what? The Lord shall come as a thief in the night. So these people are unsuspected. They don't expect these things to happen, but we've been prophesying and telling them that these things will happen. But what? They've lived their lives lavishly. They've lived their life in comfort. So when the day of the Lord comes upon, when all these plagues come upon, they're not going to know what to do. That's why there's going to be a crying for wine, the crying for understanding. What caused all this to happen? What happened what transitioned from me being at peace to now World War III is about to happen? Missiles are about to be shot off. What happened?
They're going to want answers, and they're going to know what to do. Because all hell is breaking loose. Where do you go? What do you do? You know, hey, that's it. Peace, peace. That's it. And that's why it says that they're gonna run to and fro. And at that time, wisdom and understanding is gonna withdraw itself into the secret chambers. See?
Luke 21:34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that day come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth.
So what's the power of a snare? You don't see it. It's a trap. Okay? A trap that you see, if you can clearly see that's a trap, it's not, then it defeats the whole purpose. So a snare means that you step into it or you fall into it unawares. I usually picture like them little rope circles that somebody, the second you step into that thing, catches you and lift your ass up. You know, and the whole point is they camouflage it so you don't see it. That's a snare. So as the scripture is saying that this is going to come upon you suddenly, almost like you're going to walk right into it, and then you ain't going to realize until you're hanging upside down, which represents you being in the midst of this chaos and having no way out. You know, as where we were warning you, hey, don't go down that path. But ain't nobody wanted to hear it. Save the elect.
And that's how the Jabberwocky was. You know, people thought that, oh well, I'm gonna just do this for my quote unquote health, and then it ended up being a snare, a trap. And another thing I imagine is like a pit with like covered with leaves, and they walk right into it, and like the cartoon shit, they drop into it, and that's it. So these things are gonna be disguised, camouflage. No, it's not gonna say a sign. The so-called white man is not gonna tell you, yeah, this is the MOTB right here. I'm giving it to you. No, he's gonna disguise it. But he'll have his controlled opposition telling you what it is, so that way, with saying they can justify themselves, but they're not gonna be justified, man, because the Heavenly Father said Satan to deceive you anyways.
Yeah, and then Walensky, I think they said that after she said that, she then said, "Science evolves." So that's their excuse. So things happen, things change, science is constantly changing. So at the time, this is what we thought, but well, we apparently we were wrong. So let's keep it pushing. Oh, really? You done got over 60% of people to go and this guy, this dumbass, the previous mayor, I think it was the previous mayor or governor, no mayor. This guy,
De Blasio.
yeah, De Blasio. That ugly man. Dude came on TV with I think it was a Shake Shack burger, trying to entice people to go and take the thing for a burger and fries. And you have people that, because mandates, because of their jobs and so on. Look, it wasn't every job in the world that said that you can't work if you don't have this. But people, in their minds, they were thinking of the now. Wow, so if I don't do this, then that means what? For the next 5 years, I'm not gonna have a job, bro. But for those that listen and were patient and trusted in the Lord, now this whole thing is blown over, and now look at you. Now you walking around all stressed. Any little symptom that you get, you wondering what's up. Is this something, a byproduct of such and such? So let's see. I mean, I think that it's not over. I think that these devils don't do anything just for the sake of it. Think about it. Why would Esau? Remember, they planned this whole thing. Why would they do all of that to get this into you? Say that, okay, now we're done with it, and then call it a day. What was the purpose? What was in it? No, it has to play some role in a later time. There has to be something, even if it's 20 years down the line, which Lord willing, shit ain't gonna be here at that point. But it has to play a role, which is why they wanted it to get up in your ass.
Right now, it seems like it's taking effect on people right now, psychologically and biologically too, because the effects of that jittery or that
Oh yeah.
but mentally it has an effect where it's like people who have done that, they think according to their the system that they want. It's like a social engineering type thing. Like, yeah, you want that bracket of those who accept all the conditions that's coming along with this whole system. Like, yeah, nah, this is they use the kind of terminology like toxic masculinity and stuff like that, and the new terminology for transitioning. They transformers, the word that they use, and it's like based upon them being that group that did that process. They kind of like assimilated themselves into the program, like the Matrix.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, guess what? Like you said, there were people saying, "Oh, you said all these people who don't want to do it, they should be thrown in jail. These guys are murderers. They should be charged with criminal offenses because they're putting the lives of others at risk." Really? Is that right? Well, what are your Fauci's and Walensky telling you now? Where are these people at? They just disappeared. They just, oh shit! All right, let me fall back. They slid back into the darkness.
He sought to always pull that card, man. Like he always now that's a trick he got up his sleeve. He could pull the debit card, and like the brother said, this science evolves. They could change it,
right?
Or sometimes it devolves. Like when they lost the way to get to the moon, we lost that file. We changed it. We lost it. It evolved. It's not there no more. Esau's a bullshit artist, man.
Yep. Spin doctor.
spin doctor, continuously spinning the people's mind. You know, God, I mean, the spin cycle and the attention span is so low that shit is so easy. Like, you look at the American public and it's like, damn, you can see how Esau can pull the wool over their eyes. So easy. Just look at this stuff. You know, baseline stuff. How long after the shit already done?
Doc, real quick, Haran got a point.
Yeah, I was going to add on to what you said about how everything is so-called evolving, and that's the excuse. That's the next excuse for them to bring about that MOTB, because what else is evolving? It's not just the health. It's not just the so-called the virus, okay, but also the system is changing. You know, the economic system is evolving. So if you don't evolve with it, then you're obsolete. You know, everything is merging into AI, and companies are merging with AI and so on and so forth. So those who don't jump onto the fourth industrial revolution way of doing things, you're going to be stuck in the third way of doing things, right? Meaning you be obsolete. You got to be put to sleep. Now, whatchamacallit? Bill Gates and all these people who are behind this gene therapy shit, they also came out and said that very soon, with the way this the Vanessa and all these things is evolving, all right, and what they've done, in order for them to be able to understand, have a better understanding of how this so-called virus works in people, right? You see the angle? They're gonna have to put something in you, all right, to monitor your blood and to see how this thing is actually evolving, so they can have better medication for it. I actually heard them say that. I said, oh shit, that's a smart idea. They could actually pull this off. So I kept it to myself, but I thought about it over and over again. And I said, that's not the only thing that they're saying that's evolving. You know, it's not just the virus that's evolving. It's not just the medicine that's evolving. It's not just
Let's switch up that word, because you know.
right. You know, the VS that's evolving, right? But also too the technology. You see? So with the technology evolving, the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies, ultimately they want the Internet of all things. You see, and that's where the people come in. You know, that's where the MOTB comes in. So we're there, man. It's not that hard to see. You know, but you got it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like to answer the most point, like the phones. Like one example is the iPhone. Every time I got to upgrade, and if you don't get keep up with it, you feel left behind. So it's the same thing with like technology. It's gonna keep updating until what? It's gonna come to that system where it's like, look, you gotta get this thing in your hand, or else you're gonna be left behind. That's that. If I'm not mistaken, Revelation 13 and 15. They say, all they shall be killed, but when you go, it's twofold, meaning not only just chopping your head off, but also you're gonna be separated from the whole. You're gonna be separated from society.
Yep.
If you don't keep up.
That's it. Go back to Isaiah 13.
This is verse 6. Isaiah 13, verse 6. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty.
Right. When it says at hand, that means it's at that point. All right, we're at that time. Okay, it shall come as a what? As a destruction from who? The Almighty. Who's the Almighty? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right. So the Lord is bringing this destruction. Go on.
Right. I mean, say, the hands of the clock move constantly and steadily. And if you check out the seconds on the clock, that's one of the hands of the clock. Then you got the hourly. But right now we dealing with the seconds, because hourly will consider like, centuries or years and to come. But we at the end of this thing. We in the seconds, the second hand of the clock. But continuing on. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt.
Yeah, so you ain't gonna be having any bright ideas, all right, in that time. All that people are gonna fall into one category. Okay, they're gonna be in a state of fear and distress. And if you don't have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai on you, you ain't gonna be G.I. Jane. You're not gonna turn into them superhero movies where the adversity comes and then all of a sudden they get this shock of power. They got pushed to their limits, so they broke past those limits. That's not you, and that's not reality. Okay, in reality, when that shit hits you, you're gonna fall. You're gonna get hit. When you get hit with that fear, your body behaves in a certain way, and fear paralyzes. Fear cripples. People sometimes they get so afraid they can't move. They get so shocked, their body just shuts down, and that's gonna happen to a lot of these people. So your hands are gonna be faint. You're not gonna have power in your hands to do anything. You're gonna be weak. All right, you're not gonna have any ideas on what to do, where to go. your brain is not going to be functioning right. You're not going to be able to think rationally because it's going to be in a state of panic.
Jeremiah 30, why do I see all men with their hands on their loins?
Let's bring it up. Yep.
Yep.
Let's get it. So that's the times that we're in. Not the times we're coming into, the times we're in. And people don't see it.
Hey, and you notice too how the Lord has a spirit on these other nations. All right, now all these other countries, even out here in Africa, all right, you got these nations coming together and speaking, all right, about the ills of Babylon the Great. You know, they're coming out and talking about it, how, you know, they're highlighting the hypocrisy, you know. You know, they're highlighting the hypocrisy of this land, this country, all right, its leaders. Basically, Esau is being exposed on all levels. And that's the spirit of the Lord, because it's not just us who's bringing out the truth. These nations are realizing it. You know, the scripture that says what? That the nations have drunken of her wine, and therefore the nations are mad.
Yep.
See, so everybody's upset. Like, yo, man, you tricked us. Oh, you came up with this. You the ones who are coming out here telling us about democracy and human rights, but yet look at your country. When we think of slavery, the most atrocious slavery that ever happened actually happened in your land. You know, and it's still happening till today. You want to talk about humanitarian rights? What about the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans in your land who are populating the so-called jail systems, man? So don't come over here with your hypocrisy and tell us about you're going to give us money so we can start giving rights to so-called sodomites and so on and so forth. We don't want to hear that shit, you know? So these nations are banding together. And I actually saw an article yesterday or 2 days ago, and the title says that everybody hates America. That's what it said, man. All these other nations hate America, man. So the regular American does not even pay attention to this. And it's not even about, they're going to sit here ignorant as fuck and still go eat missiles any damn way. But it's talking about the elites, all right? The ones who actually are behind the scenes controlling all these things, man. The world is waking up to your shit, all right? The man of sin is being revealed, okay? And that means that once you're revealed, that's when you get taken down, okay? Because you've lost your power once you're revealed, man. So there we are, all right?
Done. Yep. You got it? Bring it out real quick.
This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 5. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace.
Mm-hmm. So you got people that tell you that it's going to be all peaceful and, you know, not to worry too much about it. They're not true prophets. You know, Jacob's trouble is gay, you know, all these different things. They're going to get caught up in that badly. And they're going to realize, you know, how gay Jacob's trouble is. Okay?
Well, when you hear Yahushua say, "Depart from me, for I never knew you," all right, that's when reality is gonna click, because at some point somebody's got to hear that. All right, somebody's gonna hear. We don't want to hear that. That's why we do the work of the Lord. You see, but the rest of these niggas out there I don't know what the fuck they got going on in their minds. All right, but the Lord is really gonna get to you, and He gonna look at you and say, "Well, depart from me, you evildoers, you wicked ass niggas." The Lord might say that shit. Move away from me, you wicked ass nigga. I don't know you. Fuck out of here. You know, and what you gonna do then? What did he say? We said what? Their lot is gonna be with the hypocrites, and there shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. All right, so that time is also coming. You know, so we got to stand on our square, on that standard, lifting up that banner, like you said. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or the Lord might just zap your ass with a laser beam. You know, here it is. Young man. When that time comes, you best believe you're gonna have people that are gonna be hipped up, and they still gonna be looking up trying to get salvation. You know. Dudes that know that, hey, man, try to dust off the old Israelite in them and try to come back up. Oh shit, bro's getting beamed up. Oh, and you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna see a beam coming down, and it's not gonna take you up. It's gonna eviscerate your ass.
Just to add to your point, I done heard Christians say before about World War III. They say when the missiles hit, I'm gonna just be getting burned alive, and Jesus is gonna take me while I'm getting burned alive. Like, see, and this is these people are really spiritually retarded, man. Like, Jacob's trouble is gay. What does that even mean, bro? Right. That's the most nonsensical shit I ever heard. That's some short bus shit. You know, that's some shit that, you know, them dudes that got held back a few grades. That's some juvenile shit. Like, that's nonsense, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. They say whatever.
No, they're correct. Jacob's trouble is gay. Yeah, you're right. Jacob's trouble is gay. What does gay mean? Happy. That's what the Lord's going to show you how happy he is, to destroy us, to fuck you up. Yeah. So you're right.
Yeah. But we know in their minds, we know how they meant it. But that's okay. Because see, when you going 3, 4, 5 days without eating, and the Lord's gonna have these things play in your mind. Lord might have you get caught up on day one, trapped by some dude with a mask on, and dragged to some abandoned building in the basement somewhere, and you just get tortured every day. And every day he has a stereo that plays that says Jacob's trouble is gay. You know, while he does whatever, maybe he sharpens a knife, whatever the case is. Here it is, it's 3 days you haven't eaten, and he makes sure that every time he's about to eat, he sits right in front of you. He fills himself up, he's full, he throws the rest away, takes the garbage out. And you as it stays there and gets hurt and tortured, starves to death. You know, you're gonna lose a whole couple of pounds there. See, the Most High, you know why? Why didn't the Most High do something to him when they said that right there on the spot? When you say these outlandish things, oh, the miracles were witchcraft. Oh, John the Baptist fell out the truth. If I say he's a plate of fish, pass me the hot sauce. Why didn't the Lord hit their ass right then and there on the spot? Because the Lord is like, look, go ahead, have your fun. I got something for you. What I got for you is coming. It's going to be far worse. So go ahead. It's all good. You know. Let's get that back in Isaiah.
Verse 8, Isaiah 13. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth.
Now, when something takes hold of you, you know, it's like imagine if imagine somebody getting kidnapped, you know, and you got this guy that he times it, and the second he sees the person walk by the car, he jumps out the van and he grabs it, right, and then takes their ass. That's taking hold of you. Okay, it doesn't mean that it's gonna come and try to grab you by the head and try to walk with you and shit. No, it's gonna, you know. So that's what's gonna happen. Pangs and sorrows, metaphorically, are gonna take hold of you. Meaning they're gonna wrap you about all ways. You ain't gonna feel just a little bit of sorrow and a little bit of pain. You're gonna feel a lot of bit of pain because it's gonna be all upon you. Pain in different ways: physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, all kinds of pain. And it ain't gonna stop. See, the thing about pain is the second people start feeling it, they want it to stop. And then that's when they're willing to do anything to make the pain stop, make it go away. But it's not gonna go away. As it says, it's gonna take hold of them, and they're gonna be in pain as a woman in travail, a woman that travaileth. The thing about women when they're giving birth is you can't stop. You can't say, all right, that's it, I'm good, I don't want to do this no more. No. Here it is. Imagine you in labor, the baby's head is out. And you, how many women say, I can't, and then they still forced to do the shit anyway, give birth. Because once it starts, once that water breaks, and you in labor, you don't got an option. You don't need to deliver that baby. So that's how these people are gonna be. There's gonna be no way out, no exempt, no painkillers. It's gonna be raw.
Hey, also too, a beautiful example for that.
Hold on. Go ahead, and then go ahead.
Well, I couldn't hear the brother. Salakia, brother. Yeah. So I was saying that just to add on to your point, you know, you think about something taking hold of you. All right. You know, when you chilling maybe somewhere, let's say around like 2 a.m, right? You by yourself, everyone is sleeping, and then you in the kitchen. You know, you just cooking up some, you know, nice little snack or whatever, right? And then somebody just pops up out of nowhere. You didn't hear the footsteps, and then you turn around and somebody's standing right behind you. What's the feeling? You're gonna be shook. Your heart gonna be beating. You know, like what the fuck? Like your first reaction is gonna be, yo, what the fuck, yo?
Right.
You know, and it's like that feeling of dread and fear. You get goosebumps. Your heart starts beating. You feel like you about to catch a heart attack because you just got caught off guard unexpectedly with some shit that you don't even expecting. That's how these people gonna be. It's just gonna be a series of panic attacks. You know how you watching a movie and then those jump scares? You're just gonna be getting jump scare after jump scare after jump scare to the point where you become numb to it, but you just can't accept it. You know, it's just grip of fear has taken over you to the point where it's like, yo, what the fuck do I do? Like everything is uncertain. You know, you're looking over your shoulder every time you're walking. You're trying to be, soft on your feet. You know, light on your feet. You know, your voice gets a little lower. You know, you're not trying to be too loud because you're hungry as fuck. You know what I'm saying? So you're starving. You need food. You need water, and you hear all these sounds like Wisdom of Solomon, the 17th chapter, right? So all these things are going to start happening very soon in America. When the lights start going out and you start hearing more and more of these brutal killings and shootings and ain't no justice, and your cops are not being able to respond to you no more, and emergencies are happening more frequently, but you have nobody else to call. and the men are becoming more aggressive and doing things that they're getting away with. How are you people going to? How you going? Go through it when you go into the churches and the churches are getting shot up because you're like, oh, God loves you. Take your ass to the church thinking that, oh, it's the last minute. I might repent and I'll make it. No. The Lord's gonna be like, okay, well, send the demons over there because I see a lot of wicked ass people going over there trying to look for me. No way. Proverbs 1 and what's that? 18, 19, 20. Where they shall seek me early, they shall not find me. I believe that's the 24th or 25th verse, right? So the Lord is setting you up for that. That's why He's created America to become the most comfortable, place to live. On my drive up here, I saw this FedEx truck delivering stuff, and I'm looking at it and I'm just like, yo, this motherfucker delivering shit all the way in the mountains up here. And I thought about it and I was like, yo, Americans are so used to being comforted. Like they just love being in the spirit of comfort. Back then, years ago, there was no delivery trucks. You go to the post office to pick up your shit. But now the government knows where everyone lives because people look for convenience. So you give up your address, you give up where you live, and they keep coming around there thinking, oh yeah, it's just a free delivery. Oh, it's a nice delivery, it's comfort. But now they know where everyone lives. That means the Lord knows where everyone lives. He's gonna come for everyone. All right, except for the elect, man. So that's all part of it. You see what I'm saying? And that's all going to be part of the fear that's going to grip people, and they shall not escape.
Yep. That's it. You got it, the boy.
Yeah, brother kind of covered the point because I was talking about the travailing, like contractions, how it's going to get worse and worse to the point of ultimate delivery. But yeah, brother. But finishing off in that verse, in verse 8, it said, they shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 9, behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate.
So what's the ultimate intention with the day of the Lord? To lay the land desolate. What land is that? America. It's primarily America. Because that's Isaiah 13. That's what it's going into. These flies, man.
Key word, land, too. Throughout the whole earth is just this land, so-called land with free over the grave.
That's it. That's it. Brother had a point.
Right. And it said what? The day of the Lord. Now, anytime you see the day of the Lord is always equated with what? The last days. So how could this be or what they would say at the time, modern Babylon, if it was what? The day of the Lord. The day of the Lord is what? There's even a scripture that says the day of the Lord is darkness and not light. It's talking about the last days when the Lord brings his judgment. Yep. So obviously that's not talking about at the time Isaiah's prophesying this of, at the time, or I should say ancient Babylon. It's talking about modern day Babylon, which is America.
That's right. Lord?
Oh, no, I ain't finished that verse. Verse 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light.
Mm-hmm.
The sun shall be darkened and his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
Yeah, so you're gonna have these because you got the sun and the moon, which is literal, but also figurative, because the sun and the moon also represents knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And there's a scripture that says, "Is wisdom no more in Teman?" Right? No more in Teman, meaning that they're going. Isaiah 19 also goes into that. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Isaiah 19, but it's going into how they're not gonna have answers. They're not gonna have explanations. Their wisdom is gonna dry out when all these things start coming upon them. These calamities start hitting them, and then they're gonna start bugging out, panicking, losing it. Because when shit goes down, people turn to the internet and to the news to try and find out what's happening. If there was a big ass explosion, people are gonna go online ASAP, trying to find news stations to see, what's going on. But what happens when the news is telling you we don't know what's going on? Because usually they'll tell you, oh, okay, this is what's happening. We got word that this is what's taking place. Shelter in place, or go here and within a span of this will happen. They're gonna tell you, look, hope for the best and prepare for the worst. And dear God, have mercy on us all. And that news guy is gonna be out. He's gonna drop his shit and he's gonna be out. What's this? You gotta plug in the portable charger. Yeah, he's gonna be out. Because remember that these people are also people. Police officers, they are people. newscasters. They are people. Now they go to these different areas to report on shit. But if this dude, here it is, all hell's breaking loose. Who the hell's gonna be out here trying to record to give you information? Yeah, fuck that. I'm out. You know. So soon that's going. All that is gonna cease.
Right. And
They showed that movie.
no, I was gonna say,
Finish
yeah, finish your point.
I was gonna say, I think they showed that in the movie Don't Look Up, I believe, with what's his name, Leonardo DiCaprio. After a while, when they figured out that the asteroid, when they could actually see it in the sky coming, people said they forget them news anchors. They left their job. Everybody went home to be with their family because they knew it was over. Also,
Yeah, I was going to add on to the point that you made that, you know, all these services that people normally think is always going to be that way. Is only effective in a time of peace. You know what I'm saying? For you to call your police officer is only effective in a time of peace, where crime is actually something taken seriously. But when you get to a point where, like Yahushua said in the book of Matthew, the 24th chapter, that what? Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. You're in a state of anarchy. You're in a state of chaos. That means there is no such thing as crime. Crime is literally legal. You know what I'm saying? They're already making laws to make crime legal. At that point, your hospital rules are non-existent, right? Your police rules are non-existent. Society's rules are non-existent. So at that point, everyone is every man for himself. That's when people are going to look for help. You know, people normally seek help when they need help. When they need help, who do they go to? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That is why the first thing, or the natural reaction most people give off when they enter into a state of calamity instantly is Jesus Christ. Oh my God. That's their first instant reaction. But guess what? Jesus Christ and oh my God ain't going to be a saving grace. Because at that point, Jesus Christ and oh my God are also saying the same things you saying. So now what? Only the elect are going to know the secret codes, which are the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and just not knowing it, but is it going to be effective? How is it going to be effective? Your faith upon calling those names. That's what's going to make something happen for you. Other than that, you don't stand a chance in what's coming. Because the one who's bringing that pain is the one you're going to be praying to. Well, are you on his good side or his bad side?
Right. Lord might have you praying for Jesus and Mary and shit, and they might just show up. You know, Jesus might kick down your door with an AK. Like, nigga, what? I'm in need too. Nigga, what's up? You know? And Mary can show. Hey, so you never know, because you got spirits, and the Lord said He was gonna mock you. See? So here, did you calling on Jesus, and Jesus pull up, but He don't look too friendly. You know, and He looks just like the picture. You know, it just shows up. You know, with the as above, so below symbol and shit. He just looks at you. Shut up, nigga. Like, wake up to reality. You know, that's what's gonna happen. And they're gonna, because a lot of these people, like Aaron said, right, their initial instinct is to call upon their gods. But then what happens when that doesn't work? What happens when the Muslims call on Allah, the Buddhists call on whoever they call on, the Hindus call on, I don't know, they Shiva or whatever, Vishnu, all these different gods that they call upon, and nothing happens, right? Then reality is going to sink in like, yo, every situation I've been in that I've called upon my so-called God, ain't nothing happened. You know, like with Elijah and the prophets of Baal, but this time on a higher level. See, this was based on the sacrifice. Imagine, here it is, your life is in imminent danger. You calling on your God, and ain't nothing happening. But then anytime we call on our God, immediately, and I mean divine intervention, okay, something happens, and we're able to make it out. Eventually, people are going to start realizing, like, what's this guy? Jonah. When he was on that ship, and they realized that this was the God that Jonah worshipped. They all matter of fact, let's get there real quick. What's that? Jonah, I think the second chapter, first chapter. Your brother could find it when he got on the ship, and then the ship started. The Lord started causing the crazy weather and everything. Because Jonah tried to run away. He thought he was slick at the beginning. He was nah, Lord, I ain't with this. But the scriptures say, "Who has resisted His will?" See, the Most High didn't need to trap Jonah in a genjutsu and physically control him. He just said, okay. I mean, either way, you, like King David said, if I make my bed in hell, you there. If I go to the heavens, you there. You not escaping Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It's like looking at an ant, and the ant goes this way and it goes this way. You put your foot here, and then it tries to go over here, and in the ant's mind, he's like, I'm out. In your mind, you're like, bro, you know, like I just move one foot over here, and that's how the Most High sees us. he called us a worm. So imagine a worm trying to escape from you. That's how you look when you try to escape from the Lord. Got it?
Jonah chapter 1 verse 4. But the Lord sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken.
Uh-huh.
Then the mariners were afraid.
Yeah, they were afraid because now remember, when you're on the sea, a lot can happen on the sea, but the sea is a very scary place because once you let off and you're not on land anymore, the only piece of land that you have is that vessel, and if it breaks up, your ass is grass. Even if you can keep yourself afloat for a little bit, there are predators in the water, sharks, orcas, dolphins.
That's like the worst feeling, because it's like, living creatures is underneath you, but remember, you can't see them.
Right.
And especially if it's at night, the sea is dark. So you might have that, like the movie, sun hits you, like, yo, there's sun in the water. I felt it, yo. Everybody's like, yo, don't say that, bro. Come on.
Yeah, because they see, all they see is this. This is your feet. They see your feet like this in the water. And then and them sharks are like, oh yeah. And your ass is out here like, yo, what's up? Because, hey, it's like you said, it's a scary thing. So that's why people that actually have experience on the sea, they know the dangers of the sea. So when these mariners saw the weather start going wild, they already knew how bad things can get. Things can go from 0 to 100 real quick. Go on.
Verse 5. Then the mariners were afraid and cried every man unto his God.
See? Instinctively, they cried where? To their gods. Every man to their gods, whoever it is they were serving. Because remember that on this vessel, you had people from different areas trying to go, I believe it was from Joppa, which is a harbor, to Tarshish, which is modern day Spain. So they were trying to go across the Mediterranean all the way to Spain. And Joppa is also that place where the Apostle Peter went, and you had Simon the Tanner, who lived over there, which I believe he dealt with like animal skin. I think it was whale skins or so. But the process of actually turning that skin into leather or whatever it is exactly that they do is a process of it stinks. Put it like that, because you got to actually use certain chemicals and ingredients that are not favorable to the nose, to the olfactory. So that's why they have it at the coast, because there, it's not inland. It's more of the coast. Anyway, so they sail off from Joppa. They're going. Here it is. You in the middle of the Mediterranean. This big ass body of water. And then shit starts going wild and crazy. So initially, everybody was praying to their gods. Go ahead.
And cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea, to lighten it of them.
Yeah, because they didn't want it to sink. So they started throwing things overboard. Go on.
But Jonah was gone down into the sides of the ship, and he lay and he was fast asleep.
So he went down there to the side and took a nap. In his mind, he's like, I'm going. The next stop I wake up in better be Tarshish, and whatever it is I got to do, I'm maybe hide myself over there for a while, because Nineveh is east of Israel. Tarshish is west. So Jonah then made up his mind. I'm going as far away from this place as possible. Go on.
So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy God, if so be that God will think upon us that we perish not.
What meanest thou? Which modern day, you be like, here it is. Everybody's praying to their gods. The ship is damn near about to sink, and your ass is out down here sleeping. What's up with you? What's wrong with you, nigga? You better wake up and call your gods too. So read what he said again.
Verse 6. So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy God, if so be that God will think upon us that we perish not.
And we perish not. So everybody calling their gods, somebody's bound to respond. Somebody's God is going to answer the doorbell. You know what I mean? And then at that point, we all rush in there. Go on.
Verse 7. And they said everyone to his fellow, Come, let us cast lots, that we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us.
So they understood that somebody in here done pissed somebody else, some god off. We got to find out who it is that's bringing this bad juju. Okay, go on.
So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah.
And why is that? Because the Most High basically said, look, I told you you're gonna go to Nineveh, and you're trying to run away. So when they cast a lot, which is spiritual, the Most High had to fall upon Jonah. Go on.
Verse 8, then they said unto him, tell us, we pray thee, for whose cause is this evil upon? What is thine occupation? And whence comest thou?
Yeah, who are you? What have you done? Are you like some secret murderer? You know what I'm saying? Like you went and did some foul shit? Like, what's up? Go on. So they investigated his ass.
What is thine occupation? And whence comest thou? What is thy country? And of what people art thou?
Yeah. So because remember, it wasn't. This is a shift. Just like if you get on a bus or on a train or on a plane, just because you may come from one area doesn't mean everybody on the plane comes from the same area. You got Edomites, Moabites, Ammonites, Hamites, all on the same plane. So on this ship, you had different people. You had Israelites from different lands. You also might have had heathens up on there. So they're like, yo, who are you? Where are you from? What people are you? You know what's going on? They wanted to know. I want to know. Go ahead.
Verse 9, and he said unto them, I am an Hebrew, and fear the Lord Yahweh, the God of heaven, which made the sea and the dry land.
Yep.
Then were the men exceedingly afraid.
Then they were exceedingly afraid. So I'm sure. Look, if Achior could know so much detail about Israel as to warn Nebuchadnezzar's, Holofernes or whatever, to warn him and tell him all the history about Israel, that's because they heard about it. Everything the Lord did for us, it was recorded, and the nations heard about it. Okay, they heard about the Lord destroying Egypt for our sake. They heard about him drying up the Red Sea, him doing the miracle in Jordan. Okay, the destruction of all the different cities. They heard about all these different things. So when I'm sure when he mentioned that he was of the Hebrews and he served Yahweh, some people already in there knew, oh, that's the God you serve. So you know what I'm saying? Now you done messed us all up because they knew the history. Oh, that's the God of the Hebrews. That's the God of the flood. That's the God that destroyed Egypt. Go on.
And he said unto them, I am an Hebrew, and fear the Lord Yahweh, the God of heaven, which had made the sea and the dry land. Then were the men exceedingly afraid.
Exceedingly. So if they weren't afraid before, which they were, now they were even more afraid. Go on.
And said unto him, why hast thou done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of the Lord, because he had told them. They said unto him, what shall we do unto thee, that the sea may be calm unto us? For the sea wrought and was tempestuous. And he said unto them,
so imagine being on the sea and you got winds blowing like crazy. You got the waters, the ship is going up, is going down. Water is coming on board. You know, shit is going wild and crazy. And they all shook up because they're thinking they're about to die. Once again, the ocean is a scary place, which is why even the disciples were shook up when that storm arose. And even though Yahushua was on board, they were still shook.
Right. Also, too, you got to think about the fact that for that kind of atmosphere, what was actually happening? You got to picture it, right? So you got to understand on sea to have that kind of storm, it got dark, you know. So you got the clouds picks up, you know, and then you got the water, you know, getting into the ship, into the boat, you know, and then you're staring it, and then water's coming in, and they're trying to push things off the ledge, you know what I'm saying, so they could lighten up the weight of the ship. And then here it is, you got Jonah chilling at the bottom. Jonah might be a Judite, yo. He just chilling, you know, and he just chilling in there. And what the fuck is this nigga, yo, you know? So when they found out that, yo, he's a Hebrew, oh, this one, you must have pissed off your God. And I got a quick precept to back up that point of how these nations feared, all right, Israel and our God. And that's the same spirit that they're starting to feel now. All right. Real quick, this is a book of Joshua, chapter 2, and start off at verse 8. It says, actually, verse 9, it says, and she said unto them, and this is dealing with Rahab, all right, going back to the time of when we were taking over, all right, the land of Jericho. All right, Joshua had sent a couple of spies to go out there and spy out the land, all right, before we go in and take over, right? So when they got there, the Lord put a spirit on Rahab, and then they met her, and then she's the one who helped those two spies escape, those people who are looking for those two spies, all right? So it says here, The book of Joshua, chapter 2, and verse 9, it says, "And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord Yahweh hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. For we have heard how the Lord Yahweh dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when ye came out of Egypt, and what ye did unto the two kings of the Amorites, and were on the other side Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we had heard these things, our hearts did melt, neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord Yahweh your God and your power, he is God in heaven above and in the earth beneath." All right. So all these other nations, when you go into the east and so on and so forth, they all know about the power, all right, of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. It's only when you come over to the west that they try to do away with that concept of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That's when they try to, minimize the power of the Lord, by blinding you with technology and all this fake ass media shit that you watch. You don't think that there's a spiritual power that's out there that controls all things. But these other nations, they know. They very well know. They have the records of it. All these different things they know, man. They know who we are and so on and so forth. They know all that. They understand all these things. It's only here in the West, But that's why the Lord's going to put that major destruction here in the West, But you got it.
Bring it up.
1 Kings 18 and 24. "And call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of Yahweh, and the power that answereth by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, It is well spoken."
That's it. That's it. And this time, this is going to be done without, we ain't going to need to say that, the Lord's going to show forth. That's why it says in 2nd Ezra 16 and 70 on down, "Then shall they be known who are my chosen," right? Because the Lord he's going to show. How was it known that Elijah was a true prophet? The Lord showed up when Elijah brought back the widow woman's son to life. She said, "By this, now I know you are a man of God." See, and Elijah called upon the Lord for the Lord to bring the spirit back into the child. So the Lord, and in the New Testament, it says that the Lord confirmed what the words of the apostles were signs. See, so he's going to do the same thing in this time. We're not going to be in the same condition as everybody else. 2nd Ezra, the 2nd chapter, tells you that we're going to be merry and have an abundance, and people are going to be wondering how. But that's going to be through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushai. That's it. That's it. So there's going to be that some are eating and some are going to be hungry. Some are drinking, some are going to be thirsty. All right, let's go back to Isaiah. So really, what's the best way you can spend your time? Serving the Lord. This is the best investment out there. All the investments are going to fail. But this is the best investment out there because the return from this investment goes beyond just even the time of Jacob's trouble. It starts there. Really, it starts right now because the Lord is protecting us. The Lord got like Job. Job in his normal life still had a hedge of protection about him, just like we do today for serving the Lord. But it's going to go a step further in the time of Jacob's trouble. When people are being tempted, during the hour of temptation, when we're kept to not take the sea hit, when during the famines, when we're able to eat, when violence are all about us, but we're protected, when the Lord blesses us, with spiritual power, sends the angels to come, comfort us, all of these different things. These are all benefits. These are all part of the return from this investment. And then it goes further when Yahweh Shai comes back and delivers the elect. And then as the kingdom gets rebuilt, and then it just keeps on going and going and going and going and going. That's why the Apostle Paul said that for the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. It's incomparable. You can't even compare the two. All right, let's go ahead.
Finishing off verse 9. "And he shall destroy the sinners thereof."
What's that, Isaiah? Isaiah 13 and 9?
Isaiah 13 and 9.
All right.
This is the latter part. I'll take it back up to the top.
All right.
"Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger."
Whose anger? The Lord's anger. He's been long suffering and he's angry. So the Most High is bringing that day of destruction. Go on.
Wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
So what land is that? Starts with America. And he's going to destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Which shows that the law is still in effect, right? Because what is sin? How do you have a sinner? A sinner is one that sins. What is sin? Breaking the law. So where there is no sin, where there is no law, there is no sin. Where there is no sin, there is no sinner. So if you have a sinner, then you have sin. If you have sin, then you have the law. So the Lord is going to destroy the sinners thereof out of it. If you're not of the elect, you're not making it off the soils of America. You might as well just buy your ticket and leave now. And the Lord might still get your ass wherever you're going. Go on.
Verse 10. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light.
Mhm.
The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
Right, which we were going into, on the flip side, going into the wisdom of these people. You still got that in Isaiah 19? Let's get that real quick. You can start off at Isaiah 19. You can start off right here, verse 11.
This is Isaiah 19 and 11. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools.
Now Isaiah 19 is once again the prophet Isaiah prophesying about America, but it's being referred to as Egypt. Just like in Isaiah 13, it's a prophecy about America, but it's being referred to as Babylon. The term America didn't exist at the time. So now it's going into the first few verses in Isaiah 19. It talks about the hardships that are going to befall this place, the water shortages, the droughts. All right, Second Ezra tells you that, right? For 3 hours they shall not run. The fountains, the springs are going to be stayed. So, and then when you hit verse 11, it starts to go into the wisdom failing. The wise men of this place, their counselors, their technology, their all these people that they seek to, is all going to be failing. They're not going to have answers. Go on. Because see, Esau is only as wise as the Lord makes him. The only reason they're wiser than Daniel, well, how was Daniel made wise? By the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So how is Esau wiser than Daniel? The Lord gave him that spirit and that technology. So they can accumulate all this information. All right, and they can think the way they think. Even though it's sinister, it's still deep. And it's wise on the left-hand side. So then the Lord says, okay, now I gave you that wisdom to accomplish X, Y, and Z. But now, in order to accomplish the rest, I'm going to take that from you. I'm going to make you bug out a little. Because you know when they're really going to bug out? When they think that they got everything in the bag, and then the demons that they consult with start pulling back. Because the Lord's going to give them that command. The deceived and the deceiver are his. The Lord eventually, I got you. The Lord eventually is going to say, yo, your job is done. Fall back. Because the demons are double agents. They're playing Esau and they're reporting back to the Lord. So when the Lord says at the critical moment, fall back, then these devils are like, yo, what's up?
Quick precept. There's the book of Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 9. It says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. That's all going into what? The ultimate destruction. Because with that one destruction, all this stuff is over with. All right, the sorcery is going into the big pharma. All right, that'll be the biggest form of sorcery, because they're able to use their media, all right, to push that pharmakia spirit, the witchcraft. Okay, it's all witchcraft. It really is. All right, for you to take something and then believe that it actually works, meanwhile it doesn't really work, you know, so-called jump shot. I mean, it's all witchcraft. They convince you, put you under a spell. Trump said it. He said there's been a big spell that's been cast over 100 and whatever nations, you know, and there's an invisible enemy. You know, all this bullshit you were saying back in 2020. We remember that, right? So the Lord says he's going to destroy all that. It says, verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Damn. You know, you didn't trust in the Most High. You trusted in wickedness. You know, because why? You're doing all these tests. You know, Satan is you doing these conjuring on the left-hand side. You know, Satan is giving you all these props, and you think, oh, yeah, this is how we're going to do it. You have these secret meetings, these councils, and so on and so forth, right? I saw a video earlier today. This chick, Mila Kunis, all right, just came out and said that she's basically coming out as a witch. You know, they were asking her, and she's like, yeah, you know, I guess so. I guess I'm a witch, you know. And she's showing how they do all these seances. They put it out in the face of the people. Why? They want to normalize all this wickedness for the youth. So very soon you're gonna see people just out in the open, got pentagrams. You know, you'd be like, what the fuck? You know, there was a picture I saw some time ago, and there was an apartment building, and the new people who were coming in there, they were renovating. So they lifted up the carpet, and all you see is this big ass pentagram on the floor, man. You know, so the previous people who were living there, they was performing witchcraft in that place, man. You know, a place like that, I ain't gonna live there, man. I'm out. I'm like, fuck this shit. You know? But they trust in what? They trusted in the wickedness that it says, thou hast said, none seeth me. Right? Oh, the Lord ain't gonna see this. That's why what? When we come out and we put out the word, guess what happens? We shine the light on them. They don't want that. You see, in a society like this, when you ridicule a wickedness, they'll come against you. You know what I'm saying? That's all you need to know. You know what I'm saying? So continue, it says what? Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. All right, well, where it says the book of Obadiah, that says what? The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee. You know? So it's the same concept right here. It says what? And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Right? Because what? America has been really starting from the so-called white man, the elites. All right, they've always enjoyed the liberties of this earth. You know what I'm saying? They're the only ones that can actually go into a different country, a different land, and tell the other people there, hey, you have to live by our laws. If not, we're gonna destroy you. You know, they're the only ones that live in a luxurious mindset. You know, when you think of all the so-called great things and the great people and the people who are living lavishly, you don't think of a so-called wriggly old black nigga in the corner somewhere. No, you think of an old wriggly so-called white nigga, all bearded up and all this weird, maybe clean shaven, but they run the world. You know what I'm saying? When you think of these bankers and the owners of these big time companies and shit, who's the faces that you're seeing? You're not seeing so-called blacks and Latinos running that shit. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that generational wealth. The Lord didn't give us this blessing on this side. This is all talking about them. All right, they're the ones who have it all to the point where they want to have what? People underneath some form of subjection, and they want to be like the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And later on, I'm gonna upload a clip of them putting up this new incubators to put out babies, man. Like they show you that in this book, Aldous Huxley's A Brave New World is in there. You know what I'm saying? So let's finish this. It says, verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee, and we're starting to see the evils coming upon. It starts with the words, the verbiage, and then you start seeing the actions. These other countries are getting ready for war, and they're all gonna come against America. All right. It says what? Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Going into what? It's going to be suddenly. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be suddenly where all of a sudden there's no electricity. All of a sudden it's just new things that the Lord is going to be doing on this place, man. We gonna understand it, but the rest they're not going to understand, right? So it says what? And mischief shall fall upon thee. And what is that talking about? That's ultimately the missiles. All right, but mischief also goes into what? The calamities that will befall this place. And it's not just the land, it's mostly because of the people. All right, the mischief, people looking at America and say, damn, what happened? Is because they're going to see how much people are going to be suffering. You know, they're going to be like, damn, bro, America used to be that shit. That what's that in I believe in the book of is it Nahum, where it talks about the well-favored harlot, right? America at one point used to be the well-favored harlot. She was the one that everybody wanted to go to. You know, everybody wants to be an American. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to have that flavor of having $1 in their pocket when they go back to their country. You know, they want to have that American slang. You know, they want to, you know, sag their jeans. You know, they want to dress like what they see on TV. You know, you go to these other countries, these women over there, they starting to take over the attitude of the so-called black American woman over here. You know, that's all going into that, man. You know, but the Lord's going to destroy all that shit, right? So continue, it says what? And it says what? Mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off. Right? Because the Lord is the one who's going to put that on you. You see what I'm saying? It says, and so your technology is not going to save you from it. It says, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. All right? That's talking about what? Ultimately, the destruction, the missiles that's going to fall upon this place. All right? But you got it.
Right. Beautiful point. So let's sit back in Isaiah. No, it's not it. Isaiah 19.
This is Isaiah 19 and 11. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish.
So who's the modern day Pharaoh? The leader here, today will be this guy Biden, okay, the leader of this land, right? And it says their counselors are become brutish, so they've lost that wisdom, because in every society where you had a ruler, you had a court, and you had wise men, which were people that they would go to consult about different things. Now you had those that were counselors within the immediate court of the king, and then you had those that were considered, like Chaldeans, which were the upper class, but you had like the wise men of them. You had those that were like the prognosticators, the astrologers, these kinds of people that were known for certain traits, that they could read into certain things and provide certain insight. And you had those in all these different societies. They all had their versions of them. In today's day and age, they have their versions of it as well. So in this time, when they seek to those people, they're not going to be getting answers. Just like when Janus and Jambres, I believe those were the two of the primary magi's that came against Moses and Aaron. It got to a point where they couldn't even compete and come against the power of the Lord. See? So this thing is going to get out of hand. It's going to get out of the control of these elites. Go ahead.
How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them know, and let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts have purposed upon Egypt.
Right. And that's once again dealing with America. See, so they're not gonna have the answers. Now they know what we're saying is true, right? Because guess what? These elites, they know that we're not here just making things up. They know that we're the real prophets. But the average individual doesn't. And these elites are not gonna come out and openly tell you, hey, those men on the street corners are the actual prophets. Hell no. They're not gonna tell you that. But deep down inside they know it. That's why they have this battle of trying to overtly or covertly get us off of the street, trying to have like this behind the scenes war, but not let the people on the surface know what's really going on. And that's why they'll have their vocab Malones, and they'll have their incidents here, and then their Kyries and their Kanyes and so on and so forth. But yeah, no, we're good on this. Let's jump back in Isaiah 13.
Hey, Salak.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to make a point with what you said earlier regarding how, if I'm not, you could bring that last verse back real quick.
I think 12.
Isaiah 19 and 12. Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts have purposed upon Egypt.
Right, exactly. So ultimately, the so-called, like back then, like you were saying about the Chaldeans, today you got things like NASA. They look into the space and they look into all these different things, and then they report on it. But they're gonna be the ones who gonna see, and they're gonna be like, oh shit, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, this is what it is. America is gonna be destroyed. You're gonna start hearing them say it. Scientists gonna be saying it. They're gonna say, well, it looks like this great country, hey, this is it, man. We're gonna be hit with missiles, and we don't have the capabilities. All the signs are pointing to it. They're gonna be looking at the planetary alignments and all that. They're gonna be like, this has to mean something. And then the only thing they're gonna go back to is it's written in the book of this in the Bible, and then there you go. The testament of the Lord has spoken, right? Now I got a quick precept, and it's actually continuing in Isaiah 47 in verse 12. It says, "Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth." All this wickedness, all this building AI and all this shit, it goes all the way back to the 50s and the 40s, even prior to that. You know what I'm saying? Having them to want to so-called create a so-called New World Order, which I believe through the spirit that Klaus Schwab is the reincarnation of what's his name, Adam Weishaupt. They're both Germans. You know what I'm saying? And they both with the concept of having the so-called New World Order. So he started it back in 1776. He's back again to try to fulfill it, but he's still gonna fail. All right. So continuing, says and they're both professors too. Isn't that funny? It says, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, if so. That goes into a perfect precept is in the book of Proverbs. I mean, the book of Job, I believe the 20th chapter, where it goes, if I can pull that up real quick. All right. where it goes into their youth with the wickedness. If I could pull that up. All right, basically, right here. There's the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 11. It says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. All right. So from you've been laboring, you've been wicked since your youth. The Lord said, the wicked, they be born estranged from the womb. All right, they go astray, speaking lies. You know, so that wickedness is something you were created for, right? The vessel fitted for destruction. You know what I'm saying? You were created for that. You know, the Lord said in what's that, Malachi 1 and 3 and 4. All right, they are the border of wickedness. All right, so there has to be a people on this earth who, when you think of wickedness, they are the forefront of it. There has to be a certain people. And guess what? America is the one who's pushing all that shit. And the people who rule America are the ones who we know as the so-called white people, who are known as the Edomites. And these other nations are starting to realize that, right? So continue in Isaiah 47. It says, if so be thou shalt be also to profit, Salakia, thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. But guess what? The answer is you're not going to prevail. All right, because we're at the time, you running on borrowed time. You know, Revelation 12 and 12, for the devil knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right. So verse 13, it says, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the NASA, and the so-called astrophysicists and all these weirdo niggas, man. You know, the what's this guy's name? Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? His ignorant ass. He don't know what the hell is going on. But at some point, the Lord's going to show him where he's going to start saying things like, hey, what's going on? This is biblical. This is, you know, this has to be the prophecy of God. You know, we're seeing God, you know, features in this thing. What we're seeing here is just astonishing. You know, they're going to be saying it. You know, it says, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators, stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. And they're not going to be able to save you. All they're going to do is confirm what everything we're being saying. That yes, indeed, America is deemed for missiles and is going to be destroyed. That's just what it is. All right, but you got it.
Yeah, God, that's a beautiful point, and that's ultimately what we're gonna end up in Isaiah. You got it, bro.
Isaiah 13, verse 11. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity.
Just like he did during the time of the old world, right? Can we get that real quick in 2 Peter? The Lord spared not the old world, flooded it. I think it's the 3rd chapter, right? So the old world. Why did the Lord destroy the old world? Which the old world was the time prior to Noah, up until Noah's time, up until that flood. Okay, that was the old world. And why did the Lord decide to flood the whole planet? Save Noah and his family, because the Lord, first off, Noah found grace in the sight of the Lord, but the Lord said they repented him that he had made man. For all they woke up and chose violence, you know, and that's all they were doing, iniquity and violence. So because of that, the Lord brought that flood as a punishment. Sure. Yeah, I believe the 2 Peter 3rd chapter. It should be somewhere around. Let's see what the 5th verse says.
2 Peter chapter 3, verse 5. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of the Most High, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished.
That was a flood. They call it the deluge. So the world then perished because the Lord destroyed them. Right? Go on.
But the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men.
So how's the Lord going to punish the world this time, as we just read in Isaiah? By fire. Because he made a covenant with Noah, which is the rainbow, that he wouldn't destroy the earth again by water. So he said, all right, so this time I'm going to use fire. Got it, the boy?
Yep. My bad. Quick point. Because like I said, I'll punish the world, right? Now, again, like the elders and apostles Graham Mills always say, in order to understand the mysteries, you got to know the history. During the time of ancient Babylon, when did the Lord punish the whole world?
Got it.
And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
And the pride starts with Esau. Right? He's literally known for his pride. All right, his look was more stout than his fellows, but not just Esau, but just even down to the average individual today, to where they're too proud to humble down and follow the ways of the Lord. They think that they got it all, so the Lord is going to punish them for that wickedness. Go on.
Verse 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold.
Which this is referring to a man of the Lord. Okay, a man of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is going to be made more precious than fine gold. Meaning that the Lord is going to turn these men into high value men. Go on.
Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place.
So let's get that. And what's that? Isaiah? Is it Isaiah 24? The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. So how is the Lord going to shake the heavens and move the earth out of to and fro? You're going to have, not only you're going to have natural disasters, earthquakes, tsunamis, because as missiles hit the water, and the scriptures talk about that, right? As they hit the water and they hit the land, you're going to have the shifting of tectonic plates. You're going to have the movement of the actual planet. Things are not going to be just regular. Things are going to be moving and shaking. And ultimately, that's why the Lord's going to take his elect out, all right, beamed up into the chariot. So the day of the Lord is going to be a crazy day, man. The day Yahushua makes his return is going to be remembered for all eternity, because that's how big it's going to be.
Isaiah 24:20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard.
So when you see somebody that's drunk, the very, very drunk, you know one thing police do, right? When they pull you over, they do the breath test, but they also try to get you to walk in a straight line to see if you're truly drunk, you're not going to be able to walk in a straight line. Your perception is altered, your reflexes are slower. But a true drunkard, you see, they stumble, right? They a couple steps here, then a couple steps here, and so on and so forth, right? So the Lord is likening how the earth is going to be shaking by way of the impact of the missiles hitting to a drunkard. Okay? How a drunkard staggers, moves, left, right. That's how the earth is going to be reeling to and fro. Because you got a missile that hits this part of the earth, or a couple of missiles that hit this part of the earth, it's going to tilt shit. Then a couple hit this part of the earth, it's going to tilt shit. See? Because you're going to have missiles flying back and forth. See, America's going to get hit, but America's also going to shoot missiles. Right? So it's going to be very hectic, man.
If I may also, in America, you have Yellowstone, which is if I'm not mistaken, one of the, if not the biggest super volcano on Earth.
Oh, shit.
So you already know when the missiles hit, that's going to be like a giant pimple on the face of the Earth that just got popped.
Yeah.
And that's going to bust. And they already said that alone has, I forget how many megatons, but that alone is equivalent to like some ridiculous number of nukes in and of itself. Yellowstone volcano alone. And not to mention all the other missiles that's going to be hitting. So the Lord's just going to set the fireworks off. It's going to be overkill. Man.
Oh, yeah.
It's really going to be a wonder and a miracle that anybody survives that day. Because there's going to still be other people on the earth still, like in other parts. But the Western Hemisphere is going to be ravaged, man.
Yeah. They're going to think it's the end of the world. People are going to literally think that it's the end of the world, which it is in the understanding of the word world, meaning it's going to be the end of Esau's age. But people are going to think that this is the end of everything. Like the Lord is destroying the whole planet because of how chaotic and devastating it's going to be. But they're going to realize, nope, certain parts are going to be completely gone. Other parts are going to be unrecognizable. But then after a while, we're going to come down, part 2, and then subjugate things. Put things in their proper order. That's going to be very fun, because we're going to be indestructible. When we come down from the chariots, right, the Apostle John said he saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven. We're going to be indestructible. You can shoot a missile directly at us, like the movie Superman, where the guy basically shot him, boom, at point blank. And you can see the bullet come straight in slow motion, and it hits his pupil, his actual eyeball. And then the bullet crumbles, right? And then it drops to the ground. And he didn't even flinch. So we're going to be indestructible. No weapon that's formed against us is going to prosper. And we're going, because remember, World War III is going to be going on. And then when Yahweh Shai comes back, they're going to band together and direct their forces at the Lord. But just because America is destroyed doesn't mean that the rest of these other nations still haven't banded together, because now their attention is on fighting the Lord, shooting down the chariots. So after a while, when the indignation cools off, John said he saw the elect coming down. What are the elect going to come down to do? America's gone, but Israel's gone, but there's still other parts of the globe that needs to be brought down. People who still have the feeling to want to fight back. And then we're going to show them God's versus man. That's going to be the real God's versus man.
Also, New Jerusalem coming down, as it is written, that shows you that the kingdom is going to be right here on earth. Right? If it's coming down from heaven, then that means where is it coming down to? Right? It ain't going to go down to hell like people think, to the depths of hell or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know, that's talking about the elect coming down to restore order on earth. And like the brother was going into, it's going to be such a grievous, vehement destruction that the nations, they're going to be begging for the rod of iron by the time we come back down, man. Lord's will be a part of that. They're going to be begging for it. Please, we will be your slaves. We'll be your servants. Just get us out of this mess, please. Because that's how much the Lord is going to show his indignation. Got it?
Right. Also, too, think about it, like you said, Bakar, about how we're going to come back down and we have to subjugate, because ultimately Esau is still ruling the earth. Just because America is destroyed does not mean Esau is still not in power at that time, because it's Yahushua who comes down, and with his men, we subjugate everything and everybody else. Where I believe the book of Psalms, it talks about binding their kings with chains and fetters of iron. All right. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be a process. You know, but Esau has a hand in all things. You got the system being changed now with technology. They have everything prepared. They got a space force right now. So even if America is still destroyed, the technology is still going on. All these things have to be brought down, right? You got China. They saying China is the next superpower, right? China's not going to get hit like America. All right. So we're going to have to subjugate them too. Right. And who's going to be controlling them? These elites are not going to be here in America waiting to be destroyed. They have their bunkers in different parts of the earth, waiting to get some type of reprieve, all right, while all hell breaks loose out here, right? So they're gonna be there when Yahushua comes back, and then the destruction of their empire is gone. Now we coming for you. You see, wherever you may be at, we coming for you, and then we're gonna subjugate the whole entire planet under righteousness. You see what I'm saying? So that's what's coming. You know, but it was a beautiful point, you know, that you said about how, you know, we're gonna come down, you know, and make war against these nations. Yo, that's exactly what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? The power of of indestructible power, you know, being gods on earth. You know what I'm saying? Being gods on earth and being able to what? Control all things in righteousness. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese people going to be down. The Russians going to be down, right? But ultimately, they also going to be controlled by Esau. Oh, they just fucked up America? Well, you people over there. You notice a lot of the military armaments is being shipped overseas now. You know, oh, here it is. America just gave Ukraine you know, $80 billion, that kind of shit. For what? Military aid, right? So all these things, they're shipping it, they're putting it in all these different camps. So when the time comes, when the war comes, we're going to be going there and destroying their camps and all their military setups and their labs with their freaking robots, all that shit. We're going to be going around destroying all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they're smart. They know if they leave it here in America, it's going to be done away with. See? So they're planting in different parts, you know, through their legislations and so on and so forth. Guess what? We're going to come over there. We're going to get them niggas out there too. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai.
That's it. First in Isaiah.
Finish out this verse.
Oh, Slack. Yeah, go ahead.
Isaiah 24:20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again.
Yeah, because the Lord, see, when you read in Ezekiel 38, right, it tells you that, and get into the latter verses, that when Russia finally goes up into Israel and they start making their move, it says that the wrath of the Lord is going to come up in his face, and then he's going to act. See, so the Lord is long suffering because he's not actively putting all this wickedness back into his remembrance just yet. He just has it accumulating. But when the time of his wrath comes back, he's going to put this all back in remembrance. It's going to come right fresh like it's day one. And that's why it says the transgression is going to be upon the earth. So when the Lord looks down, he's just going to see wickedness. And that's why the destruction is going to be everywhere. The destruction is going to be like a purge to balance out all that wickedness. There's more than that?
If I may, in the NLT it says, if it falls and will not rise again, for the guilt of its rebellion is very heavy.
That's it. That's it. So the Lord's going, the Most High Himself, man, the day God they got mad, it's going to be crazy. But go ahead, Jabbar.
All right. Finishing off in verse 13 of Isaiah 13, it says, "In the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger." Verse 14, "And it shall be as the chase road, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee everyone into his own land."
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. And Jeremiah 51 talks about that, right? We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Let us all flee, everyone. They're going to go back to their own countries because it's going to get so chaotic over here. But you Israelites are going to be stuck over here. You ain't going to have anywhere to go. But everybody's going to scatter every which way. Go on.
Verse 15, "Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword."
So it's going to be chaos everywhere. Okay? If the spirit of the Lord is not with you, it's going to be like a purge. They're going to seek out people. You're going to have gangs banding together. You're going to have troops going around. And if they find your ass, you're done. Okay, go on. So judgment is going to be everywhere.
Verse 16, "Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes."
Yep. So people are going to witness the death of their children. Some are going to be eating their children. Go on.
Their houses shall be spoiled.
So
And
now, did Isaiah just get up and make this up one day? No. Why is he mentioning these things? Because he's actually seeing it. He's seeing how some people's children got killed right in front of them. You know, maybe they got their head stomped out. Maybe they got hit in the head with a baseball bat. Like in the movie, not the movie, the TV show, The Walking Dead. There's a certain part in the season where, Negan. I forgot who he killed, but he basically he had them all on their knees, and then he had his bat, Lucille, right? And then he just bashed somebody's brains out, right for everybody to witness. So you're gonna have these kinds of situations happening, and Isaiah saw it, and that's why he's mentioning it. Go on.
And their wives ravished.
And their wives ravished. So their wives are going to be, their children are going to be killed. Their wives are going to be lain with force, meaning they're going to be raped. Okay, go on. That's going to be a punishment on the women and the men.
Trouble's going to be in that day for them.
Right. Yeah. Go on.
Verse 17, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them."
Which it talks about the Medes here, but these are referring to the Russians. Okay, it's not talking about the actual Medes. It's talking about the Russians, and the reason is when you look at when you go on a map, I believe when you look at the portion where the actual land of the Medes is either a part of or directly under Russia. Which back in that time, nobody really dwelt around that area. That was like Apostle R says, no man's land. So the land closest to that region today is Russia. So those are the ones the Lord is going to stir up, which lines up with Ezekiel 38, putting the hooks back into the jaws of Gog and Magog and turning them back. He's stirring them up. Go on.
"Which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it."
Now, and once again, this is not ancient Babylon because the Medes didn't come against the ancient Babylonians. The ancient Medes did not come against the ancient Babylonians. As a matter of fact, when you read in the scriptures, you hear about the Assyrians, you hear about the Babylonians, then you hear about the Persians, right? But you barely really hear about the rulership of the Medes. Why is that? That's because at the time when the Babylonians were ruling, the Medes were also ruling at that same time. However, they ruled in parallel. They weren't going up against each other. And so the predominant one we were concerned with were Babylon because they're the ones that took us over. But at that very time, you still had the Medes that had their own empire. So those two actually worked together. The Medes and the Babylonians worked together in order to take down the Assyrians and establish their empires. So this isn't talking about ancient Babylon because the Medes and the Babylonians didn't go to war. It was the Persians that took down Babylon. And the Persians, obviously, they were reigning over the Medes. They were the upper class, right? The horn that was higher, The bear that lifted up its side on one shoulder, lifted up itself on one side. So go on.
Verse 18. Their bows,
That's it. That's it. Go on.
their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces.
Yeah, and their bows is referring on to ultimately is referring to the missiles. Okay, but the bows are really the silos which the missiles come out of. So if their bows are going to dash the young men to pieces, what comes out of the bows? The missiles. And those are going to land and they're going to destroy this place. All right, men, women, and children that are going to be here are going to be done. Go on.
And they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb.
And the fruit of the womb are children. So they're not going to care that they're children on this land. Well, they're going to hit them buttons and send them missiles flying. Because this is war. Go on.
Their eyes shall not spare children.
Once again, reiterating the same thing. Go on. And this is talking about the Medes, which are the Russians today. Okay? Don't get it twisted. In Isaiah 13, when it says the Medes, it's talking about Russia. Okay? The actual Medes are Japhetic. Okay, so we're not saying that the ancient Medes are Russians today. No, we're saying it says in Isaiah 13 the Medes, but it's really referring to the Russians. Go on.
And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of Chaldeans, excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
And what happened when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah? He destroyed it with fire and brimstone. So Babylon is going to be like that, meaning it's going to be destroyed with fire and brimstone, with the nuclear missiles and the lasers from the chariots. Because in the time of ancient Babylon, the Lord used the angels to destroy that place. And the same thing now. He's going to use the angels as well. Yahweh Shai and the rest of the angels and the missiles to destroy this place. Go on.
Verse 20. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation.
But wait a minute. Babylon is still being dwelt in today. It's still being inhabited. So this has to be talking about a different Babylon. And it shall never be inhabited. So this place is going to be destroyed. And after the smoke and everything clears, and it's really just a desert, a heap of sand, nobody's going to come up here and try to rebuild or anything like that. It's just going to stay. It's just going to stay isolated just like that. Yeah, that's a good point. The radiation, yeah, because that's a lot of missiles that's going to hit this place. Go on.
Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there.
Go on. Which means that nobody's going to come here and set up shop. Nobody's going to come here and try to open up a business and all of those things. Like real quick, I think I had a point.
Yeah, you mentioned about how this land will be uninhabitable. Look at the land of Sodom and Gomorrah now. Nobody lives there. You know what I'm saying? People who go there now, they say, oh, it's still filled with sulfur and the evidence of what the Lord did that's actually written in the book of Genesis, all the way back there. You see what I'm saying? So, that's the same thing that's going to happen here in America. It's going to be a desert, a wasteland. After the smoke has gone out, the land is not going to be good for cultivation. There'll be no life here. You know what I'm saying? Because anything that will be, all the missiles and the chemicals that will be underground in the soil and everything, there'll be no way to live in this land. The radiation, like you said, you know what I'm saying, for all the years, like how they say, they show you that in this video game, I forgot what it's called, but there was like a nuclear blast, and the whole land becomes radiated where you have to have a hazmat suit and you got to be underground and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But they even show you that in the movies. That's how America is going to be. It's going to be uninhabitable. You know what I'm saying? For human life or any form of life, really. All the radiation and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
That's right. That's right.
No, I was going to mention, just going back to that radiation, because it's the same thing. Like, imagine on a little scale, something gets badly burnt, right? And you'll still smell the after effect of the smoke. So imagine 200, if I'm not mistaken, in Revelation 9, 200 million missiles going to be shot, but it's going to be the warheads that are going to be the ones that's really going to do the damage. So imagine the after effect of missiles, all those missiles, plus the fire from the chariots as well. You can't live on this side. You can't come back here and build something. Like the brother was mentioned, it's going to be severely charred. And like I said, just on a little scale, you burn something and there's like after effect. It's severely charred. It leaves that black, that little black char or whatever. So imagine the whole land.
I may say, I don't know where Chernobyl is at. Chernobyl is inhabitable. It was a nuclear power plant that exploded, and to this day it's still inhabitable. Where you can't, and it only happened like in the late '90s, if I'm not mistaken. But a nuclear power plant was erupted or had a meltdown, and to this day it's still operational. So if nuclear missiles hit on a high level, it's no coming back.
That's it. So you just remind me, so right, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I remember reading up something about that. Even the land, if you try to like the part where it was bombed, you can't touch the soil. The soil is it's fucked up.
Radioactive.
There you go. All right, so let's jump in there.
21. Isaiah 13:21.
Mhm.
But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures.
Mhm.
And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there.
Yeah, so you're gonna have this place. No humans are gonna come up and try to create a civilization over here. Eventually, after a period of time, you're just gonna have desert creatures. Go on.
Verse 22. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come.
Whose time? Babylon's time. Go on.
And her days shall not be prolonged.
Yeah. So the Lord has an appointed time that is going to happen, where this place is going to be destroyed, and He said He's not going to prolong it. The second that time hits, game over. That was the last verse. That's it. So the final chapter, right? The final chapter, when we close the first part, we flip the page. Let me put it like that. We're going to flip the page on Babylon. This place is going to be done. Curtain closed. And on the next side of the page is going to be the beginning of the kingdom. You know? So pretty much that was it. You got anything? All right.
One last quick precept. Just like you said about how the time is prolonged, her time will no longer be prolonged. There's a book of Job, chapter 14 and verse 5. It says, seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. All right. So when the time comes and the time is at hand, all right, that's why the Lord put us out here, all right, to declare the end of America. Now we're seeing the end take place. Now the Lord is about to put on the finishing touches, which is the destruction and basically eliminating this place from the face of the earth. Because at this point, there's no need to have America. Everybody's leaving America. Everybody's detaching themselves from America. The money system is going down. And pretty much when your money goes down, your power is out of the way as well. You know what I'm saying? So this place is finished, man. So all we could do is Revelation 12 and 12. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Call Loyal Bashim Yahushai, because we're truly at the end. And like you said, the chapter is about to end on this side and open for the children of Israel, as is what's that? 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. So we got all the power from now on, man. The Wadi
Yep.
Bashim Yahushai.
That's it. That's it. So with that, hey, Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Next time, Shalom.
Shalom to the elect. Shalom.